Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for a special edition episode of the Meet Me for Coffee podcast. If you guys remember, the last podcast that we did at a show was Manifest in Las Vegas, and we had so much awesome content we were releasing on the channel. And I had actually 2 people who were supposed to be on that show, and that was just a really tough time for people with the flu and some nasty sicknesses going around. And so I did not have a chance to have my conversation with the team at Sunnybrook, and so we're getting a chance to kind of make up that conversation now. But I love actually that it's coming 4 months later, because there's a lot of new stuff going on their end, and there's been a lot of growth lately. And so had we done this 4 months ago, you guys wouldn't have as much exciting things to hear. So looking forward to the conversation being today. And thank you to everyone who is listening in. Really excited to have this conversation about TMS technology and kind of the future of technology for freight brokers, and some really cool innovations that, in my opinion, weren't possible even a year ago. Definitely not 2 years ago. Definitely not almost 3 years ago, the last time I was a part of evaluating TMS technology. So excited to hear from these guys about what the latest and greatest in technology and automation is allowing us to do these days. So without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring on my guests, Mr. John Kuhlmann and Adam Lang from Sunnybrook. How are you guys doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing great.
I'm doing great. Thanks for making the time today. It's summer break. It's not feeling super summery here in Kansas. Oh, and for anyone who's listening today, John and Adam are also both here in Kansas City. So got to have some local guys on the show today. We'd love to hear from you guys in the audience. Let us know where you're listening from today. But Adam, why don't you go ahead and kick us off with some introductions and let us know more about who you are and what you do.
Yep. Thank you. So I'm Adam Lang. I'm one of the co-founders here at Sunnybrook Software. I've been in the supply chain industry most of my career. Pretty much picked up transportation about 3 years ago, and kind of realized that the TMS market needs an overhaul. So decided to start building a TMS for brokerages. So we launched the product a couple of years ago, and kind of been growing and scaling and trying to meet our customers' needs as fast as we can and move, and with all the tech changes, just trying to keep up. So that's a little bit about me, but thanks for having me, and thanks for getting me on the call.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you originally from the Kansas City area?
I am from Olathe, Kansas, born and raised.
Okay, very cool. Did you go to college?
I went to Emporia State, and then lived in Colorado for a while, and then came back.
No problems with Emporia State. Just had to make sure it wasn't one of the other ones here.
Oh, yeah, I'm neutral.
John, what about you?
Yeah, so John Kuhlmann, president, founder of Sunnybrook Software Company. So I've been in the transportation logistics space for going on 19 years now. Worked in brokerage for more over the last 17 or 18 years, and then really focused the last year and a half, 2 years with Adam on trying to build out a technology platform that meets not only small brokers, but also medium and large as well. So,
cool.
Yeah.
And I think you're a Wildcat, right?
K-Stater, yes.
Just confirming. All right, go Cats. And John, some people might recognize you. Maybe I already know you. You are also still working with Heartland Logistics, correct too?
That's correct. Yeah. So I'm the founder and owner of Heartland Logistics Group. It's a 5-year-old freight brokerage. So I think if you don't mind, kind of get into where this whole thing got started.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep. So Heartland, it's been a crazy journey. 4.5, 5 years in the making. One of our biggest challenges and kind of why we're here today is with Sunnybrook, we had a wild TMS journey. We started out in one new TMS platform off the shelf. It didn't quite work well for our business, so we switched over and do a traditional product that everybody probably knows and loves. Aljex platform was great. We just knew as we continue to scale, we were looking for something that was more of a long-term solution. So in 2021, we looked at getting into another platform, and for various reasons, it wasn't a good fit for our business. Heartland has 30% dry and liquid bulk, and then the rest of it's truckload and LTL. So trying to find a platform that could meet those bulk needs. We pivoted in 2022 into a different platform. Again, some of the same challenges. It just wasn't quite where we needed it to be. And so that's when we had crazy idea. Let's go through a complete exploratory campaign and make sure we're not missing anything. So I think we went through approximately 33 different TMSs in a 75-day exploratory campaign. We sat down internally with our team, put our notes together, pros and cons of everything. And at the end, we didn't quite find something that we really liked. So Adam was on board, our team at the time, trying to help make that decision. And so I said, well, hey, what if we were to go out and build our own TMS? And you can imagine the pushback I got internally from, are you crazy? It's going to cost too much, et cetera, et cetera. But, I think there's something special when you have the experience of working in freight for 17 years and being able to take that and translate that into a technology product that can not only support your business, but also help you scale it. So that's what we did. We went and hired an outside development company. We brought them in. They were phenomenal, helped us get us to where we needed to be. And by January 1 of 2024, we brought all of the development in-house. We switched over from and really decided to productize this and take this to market. So started Sunnybrook Software Company. And yeah, we've hit the ground running ever since. So I don't know, Adam, if there's anything else you'd like to add to that.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the main reasons was just the ability to integrate, the ability to have control over what data is coming in and out of your system, and having really robust APIs. I felt like, there wasn't a TMS that really handled that well. And that was one of the reasons that really pushed us to let's focus on an API-based TMS that really allows, our customers to scale. We, embedded an iPaaS. We've embedded an EDI provider called Orderful that really just kind of gives the whole package for brokerages to be able to communicate with whom they want to communicate with.
Yeah. I would, first of all, I feel like you guys are very brave for doing that. And, thanks, Adam, for not thinking John's crazy and telling him we can't do that. Guys, TMS, that just seems like such a daunting thing to try to create if you're not a tech company, right? Like you guys were a brokerage. And so I'd kind of like to hear a little bit more about that process. Like, how is it difficult and Adam, it sounds like you have some technical, expertise, but for people, if you are not like developers yourself, I think that's probably what keeps a lot of people from wanting to go out and even, how do I talk to developers? Like, how did you guys kind of find that process to be? Was it maybe easier than you thought, or what were the challenges? And I guess ultimately, I think you said it took 2 years roughly, right, John? Was that kind of like a slow and steady pace? Like, we don't want to rush things, and just what was that experience like?
Adam, do you want to start?
Yeah, I mean, I have, I've done it in the past. So I knew kind of where to start and what to look for when it came from finding, developers and the type of development we wanted. We really wanted it close to home. We wanted it to, have everybody here locally and to do that. So that was one of the big things. We're like, if we're going to do it, we're not going to outsource to a different area. We're going to make sure we can work all locally and quickly in an office. And, that's one of the things that I think people miss when, a lot of people have good ideas, but when it comes to getting developers to implement what you have. But another thing was we had Heartland to help us really design it out, right? So we built it off of what a broker needs. And so we really leveraged transportation professionals to give that motivation behind what are we building? What are we trying to build? What's it going to look like? Yeah. And building a TMS is daunting. I mean, it's a saturated market. Let's be honest. There's a lot of TMSs out there.
Right.
But I think it was just, I knew what modern tech could do. And it was something that it was time for a new TMS to enter the market. Yeah.
And I would also add that I think one of the biggest things was, cost aside, or just time it takes to build the TMS aside, it's the amount of resources and input from your team, your key stakeholders, right? Their hours in going into the product. And so, we've had several conversations with prospective and current clients saying, hey, like, maybe we want to transition and buy or build our own. And, one of the things that I always caution them on is, if you want to do it, like, hats off to you. Like, I wish you the best, and I'm rooting for you, like, because it's a really cool experience when you can get it done and do it right. I will say, just be mindful that the amount of internal meetings that we had surrounding even equipment types or revenue types or the little things, like, you have to structurally build it correctly, because if you don't, it's just a downstream effect. So that's off to our team for the amount of time that they invested to making it making the product be what it is today.
I mean, I think that's probably an excellent call out, because a lot of times what you hear from any broker or carrier using a TMS is that like you're constantly trying to give feedback, and it's good that these a lot of these TMSs ask for the feedback constantly so they can keep making changes. But that's because I would have to imagine the original build was not built around the needs of a like current live broker who was very I guess I should say motivated to make it great. Right. So even if you're a TMS and you're trying to build, but you're just a tech company, you're asking people to take time out to help you do something that might not directly benefit them. Yep. And so I feel like you guys had a really interesting angle, being able, like you said, it was a big time commitment, but it was ultimately designed to be provided in the form of an ROI back to those users when they had a system that did all the things that they were really going to hope that it did. So on that note, I have a question, because we've talked about this a little bit and I already know, but I want to hear it maybe explained a little bit better, especially for our listeners. You guys put a lot of time and resources into customizing this TMS around your specific needs. And there's a lot of brokers out there who aren't going to have bulk. They're not going to do LTL. They're going to do something different or not do this. You guys chose to go an interesting route after you had started actually taking your TMS to market, from what I understand. And there's kind of different ways to package and sell this that I've never heard of. So can you walk me through kind of the different ways that you guys have engaged with brokerages to sell this solution?
Adam?
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, not only does some brokerages not do it the way that others do, but no one does it the same.
Yeah.
So
that's a great correction and call out. You're 100% right there.
That's good. I mean, you want that, right? That creates your competitive advantage. Like, you believe that your way is the best way, and that's why you're successful. And I think that's super honorable. And I think that's important to everybody who runs a company. It's like, I'm not going to buy a platform off the shelf and run it the same way my competitor does, because I do things differently, and that's great. And so we were kind of like, well, what if we offer this ability for, it's definitely for larger brokerages, but they can potentially buy the source code and then, develop it themselves, use us to develop it, or hire their own developers. We even have like a lease to own type of thing over time. Like, if I don't have the capital now to buy it, but I do know I want my own TMS to make my own choices. And so we're like, why don't we do this? This is, hosting a cloud application is nothing what it used to be, right? So it doesn't take a whole lot to deploy an application in a server provider that you like, that you trust, right? So it's just one of those things where, like, I think it's possible without totally distracting us from the core SaaS product, and we've done it successfully, and it's really helped our customers like build something that they will also want to build, and empowering them to do that, right? A lot of brokerages don't have tech teams and dev teams, and even a large broker has maybe a couple IT people, but we wanted that as something to provide, because I think it's really cool that you could build your own product, right? That's the goal.
So you guys have brokerages who have bought this as more of like their off the shelf solution. It works great, just like it works great for Heartland right now for what they need. But then you also have others who have said, they've bought this source code. It's maybe, call it like 80% similar, or maybe it's 90% similar to what Heartland's running on. But then they said, well, these are the things that like we need to make custom to our business and our operations. And they were able to kind of complete a design around the TMS to make it specific to them. I kind of feel like it's when you go into a neighborhood like development where like the houses are really already built, the floor plans are there, but if you get in early enough, you can choose like the countertops and the flooring and the paint colors. It's kind of has that feeling to me.
Yeah, I like to refer it to a nursery tree farm, right? So you go and you buy trees, a 1-year tree, a 2-year tree, they're all going to look the same, moreover. But as the trees grow, the branches grow different ways. And so what we've found is, in those scenarios where we've had the opportunity to sell our code or a copy of the code to a potential brokerage client, we've found that over time, the minute we cut that off, they're now doing their own things, right? And whether that's our development team or they've go out and hire a developer, but it's just cool to see how it evolve and take form based on the unique business needs of their specific clients' expectations. So,
yeah, very cool. I think another cool thing about that is like maybe there's a couple TMSs out there doing something similar. I don't know of many, but those TMS systems are probably already 5 to 10 years old at this point, and some of the like really legacy ones too might offer something, but you're buying like a software, like a program. So it's really cool that this would be kind of more cutting edge option for that. Like if I was going to go buy something and spend money on it, if it was going to be an investment for my business, I would want it to be like as up to date as possible and build off of that. So I think it's really neat.
Yeah, I would say that, or as flexible as possible. And again, I think what's unique about our product is we built it. The foundational layer is an API layer. So it creates opportunity for any brokers to say, well, it may not do everything that I need to do today, but the possibilities are limitless with how it's designed. And Adam can speak more to that.
Yeah. I mean, and the other piece to call out on that is just a lot of brokerages, I think, should be empowered to own their own data and control like what they do with their data, like who they share it with. And, you have all kinds of different vendors and applications that you want to share your data with so that they can provide you rate information and all of that. But ultimately, in the end, the most important thing that you're going to have over time is your data. And so when you actually own your own TMS, you have that control, and you have those, the information that makes you who you are. And that's kind of like that data footprint. So, yeah.
Well, I have a question as we're kind of talking about data or other technologies and things like that. The model used to be that the TMS was the tech stack. Like if it wasn't in the TMS and it couldn't be built into the TMS, it wasn't really like something that people really used for a long time. And then we started getting some more tools and applications, and then we just started getting hundreds more tools and applications. And then TMS has started to adopt the role of the integration hub. And they were like, we're the integration hub. Everything connects to us. And we're still heavily in that phase, I think. So like, that's kind of where TMSs are like, oh, we have integrations with 200 different AI and automation and pricing apps and carrier vetting apps and everything like that. Where do you guys, does Sunnybrook, view their position as something similar to be an integration hub? And do you think that that's going to continue to be the appropriate way to view a TMS moving into the future?
I think so. I mean, it's hard. I think there will be a hardening of more of the core applications that brokerages use to integrate with their TMS, and you're always going to need it. But we also, just like I said, we have an embedded iPaaS partner, which allows us to do like a low code, no code integration with whatever application that particular broker needs to communicate with. So it's there as an option. And then you have your core applications like your tracking and your carrier onboarding and all of the things like that. That are always going to be in a TMS. But yeah, I mean, every broker that ever comes to us has some application that I've even never heard of, or I'm like, okay, well, do they have APIs? Is it easy to communicate? And they don't have to have APIs. It could be an SFTP integration, which is old school, but people do it. But yeah, I think we're seeing a hardening of tech. The AI is kind of spinning that, mixing that up because those companies are coming out of the woodwork, but over time we'll see a good hardening of like the core applications you really need to run a brokerage. And right now we're just kind of caught in the middle of it. Yeah.
I would say, Highway is probably a good example of like one of those more core functions. Like they're newer in the space for carrier vetting and onboarding, sourcing, but they really, I feel like, just have a pretty dominating space at this point in the brokerage market. And you guys have a pretty cool, like pretty in-depth integration with them, don't you? Would you mind maybe explaining a little bit more about how that helps function as a layer in the TMS?
Yeah. So we have, we're a Highway partner, and we've, invested a lot of dev hours and a lot of our resources in embedding that in the product. So being able to source carriers from the TMS, being able to look for them, try to find carriers in the TMS that you might not have onboarded already, inviting them, like all of those things to try to, do it from the TMS. Like Highway is an example where, hey, do you really have to leave the TMS? They have really good APIs. So sourcing and onboarding and finding really good carriers that meet your rule set, that match, your compliance standards for which carriers you onboard, has really been a good, Highway's been a very good partner for that reason. We still, communicate with the other onboarding platforms, but, yeah, that's been a game changer for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that that's kind of maybe maybe where I see future and potential in the TMS integration space is that it's great that we have all these APIs. It's great that we can communicate, but sometimes that doesn't mean even if we integrate, we're still leaving the primary workflow, which is the TMS, to go into different web pages and tools to do different functions.
Yep.
And so how you mentioned like the core things that are automated, if you could start to eliminate needing to ever leave for tracking, needing to ever leave for that onboarding and sourcing or pricing, we're cutting down on the amount of times that we have our operational reps flipping through different tabs and websites and logins and all the stuff that comes with it, the shared spreadsheets for the logins and all of that stuff. So,
and you have to keep up with it, right? Because Highway's always launching new things, right? So they have Load Lock and Load Lock Plus, and we have all of those things. And we're just making sure that, anything that they add, we want to add, and we want to make sure we're growing with them. Because it's one thing to add the onboarding, right? Everybody can onboard in a TMS, but then all the other features that come with those really cool companies that are changing the way people are doing things is like, we also have to keep up with them. And so that's a good call out.
What about vendor management? Like, do we get to a point in the future where if I'm a brokerage, instead of having to pay 10 different tech tools, do I ever get to a point in the future where I pay my TMS provider and they're providing the other tech tools through them?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's just really how your partnership is established, and if it's like a sell-through agreement or if it's their own commercial paperwork. But I think there can be a world where you just buy the TMS and then the pricing is embedded in whatever tools you use for tracking, onboarding, rate gathering rate information, just to make it easier on the sales cycle. Because when somebody goes to buy a TMS, they also have to go buy, 5 other applications and sign contracts with them and manage those contracts, and rates go up and rates change and contracts get renewed. And, the easier we can make that, the better, I think, over time, if they can just buy the TMS and they get the tools that they need to get off the ground.
Yeah. I think one of the other things too, though, is as you look at our platform, I mean, we're focused on building the right tools that the brokerages need to be successful. From a target client perspective, we're not chasing the $300, $400, $500, $600 million brokerages today. I think we will at some point in the future, but right now, like, our core focus is long tail. So, startups, brokerages from say 0 to 50 million. What tools do those guys need today? I mean, if you're a one-person brokerage, you don't need a book it now feature or some of this other like deep automation. I'm not saying that you don't need to be efficient, but what I'm saying is, how quickly can you build a shipment? How quickly can you take it from your email or from a phone call and get it into the platform? What's your capacity matching and sourcing look like, right? What's your lane history? How well is that integrated into your TMS to where you can find your historic data in a very quick manner to be able to replicate, duplicate your shipments, source capacity, and you're basically taking what would take a team of 5 people and you can execute it as an individual or maybe a team of 2.
Talk to me about technology, like what you just talked about, operational efficiencies, and how, I think we underestimate seconds and minutes in this industry, right? Like, if your team has like 5 more minutes back in every hour to do something else that's not click, 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 copy, paste, move, right tabs, that matters. It really, I think the direction we're progressing, I wouldn't even just say as an industry, I actually think as an economy as a whole right now, there's a lot going on to try to bring back manufacturing or try to grow certain spaces. And I think we've all decided that like we have to start embracing automation, productivity to be able to do that. And so as like a nation, I think there's a push for AI adoption, automation adoption, and just general efficiencies. So what do you think, like in brokerage, we're people heavy business, we're a service-based business. So where are the opportunities to be efficient other than your technology?
Yeah. Adam, I'll start. I think one of the big things that we always talk about internally is click budget, right? So how can I get to the furthest part within my TMS? How many clicks does that take? When I was in the old days, when I was at C.H. Robinson, we used to have a guy walk around with this a stopwatch, and he would not only count your number of clicks, but how long it took you to perform a specific task. And again, this was 2007 to 2015. So fast forward to today, you look at what AI is doing in the industry and what roles and job functions it's eliminating. The TMS needs to be quick, that if I'm going to do this in a manual effort, I need to be able to do it as efficiently as possible. So, For us, like having a Google-like searchability within the TMS, I can type in reference numbers, I can type in customers, I can go straight to their profile and get to the information that I need super quickly. I think the other thing too is just focused around how you go to market and source capacity. I want to be able to do it, book 3 loads with 1 phone call. And if you don't have that data at your fingertips, or it's easily accessible, 1 or 2 clicks away, then what's the point in doing it in the TMS? We can just hire a third-party application to do that. I think Adam could probably expand on that as well.
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest things we spent many hours discussing is like, what do we display on a shipment page? Like, how much information do we need to display? And do they have to click into another box to open up to get a customer reference number, to get, appointment times, to get contact information? It's like, no, let's make it all visible, right? So we really intentionally made sure that when they were opening up a shipment, they could see every piece of data that they needed to make a decision. It's a lot of data, but there's a lot of data involved in moving a truck from point A to point B. There's a lot of people involved. So making sure they can reach out by phone and email quickly from the actual application. And the other thing just to say on that is efficiency is like our customers are growing, right? So in a hard market, our SaaS customers, they're growing. They're getting, I don't think the TMS can't take credit for sales. I get that, but it can take credit for the amount of loads you can move. And so if you can, receive more EDI loads and more, API based, loads quickly, like if it's dynamic pricing or quoting and all of that, you can actually just end up growing just because of your tech, because it allows you to not hire as many people and use the system. So that's another call out, and just being able to, it's actually working, right? Like our customers are growing. They have more loads than they did last year. They're able to do things faster. Yeah. And the AI piece is really, quoting, load quoting from emails, load building from emails, and then just the accounting side, right? The accounts payable side for brokerages is a brutal task, and being able to just chomp through documents and figure out what's a carrier invoice and a POD and a BOL and a rate con. And using AI to do that is really, really going to be the best way. So you don't have to grow a giant accounting team to handle the payable side. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that, automation sometimes and technology advancements get a little bit of criticism depending on who you are, where you're at in our space. But I think that it's unavoidable. I think like early adopters, they're going to see the most benefit. And I think that it's not about replacing people, right? Because none of us are hopefully stupid enough to think that we can have a great competitive advantage as a broker if we're not letting people communicate with our customers or with our carriers. It's just like about how are we making sure that's what they're doing. I want my people on the phone with my carriers. I want them on meetings and golfing with my clients. Like, I don't want them doing admin tasks and, manual data entry and things of that nature. I'm a sales coach, and in sales, one of my biggest strategies for our sellers across brokerages is how do we automate not AI written emails, right? Like not like AI spam sending out hundreds of emails, but how do we automate all of the processes and actual like data entry of your sales tasks every day? Like, how do we make sure it's like auto logging into CRM and that your tasks are being automatically prompted to remind you what to do and when, so that you can do what you do best and just focus on the actual crafting of the unique email and the phone call that you make or the unique message outreach. And so to me, I just see it as like the same in operations. Like, I want to make sure my people are doing things that are honestly like honoring their brains. Like thankful that I have this person with this capability to think so uniquely and problem solve and stuff, not just click a bunch of buttons and push things around. So I think what you guys are doing is really cool. And I'm honestly just really hyped about the whole technology space in freight right now.
Yep. That's exciting.
Well, a couple things before we wrap up here. Is there a product roadmap? Anything cool coming up or anything you guys are currently working on? Just would like to kind of see what's coming down the pipe in the next 6 months or so. And then if anyone's like, what would your advice be to anyone looking for a new TMS right now? You guys were in that position yourselves at Heartland not long ago. You created Sunnybrook. Now you get to talk to brokers all the time right now who are in that, evaluation phase. So what's the advice you would give them? And if anyone's interested in talking to you, how do they connect with you guys to do that?
Yeah. I can take the first part, I guess, about just our product roadmap and what we're trying to do. A couple exciting things we're really focusing on is kind of having an internal quoting tool, being able to receive API quotes, respond back in the TMS, get the loads tendered over, all within the TMS. We just felt like that was something that no other TMS had. So that's a big feature we're investing a lot of resources in, and just a lot of the, large shippers are moving that way. We've already seen that, you get way more loads if you can spot quote through an API and successfully pass your rules, get rates, and apply your logic that would, add margin to that. And so that's one of the big features we're working on right now. The other things really are around AI and just trying to get that fitted in correctly. It's a big task. It's a lot of work. It takes a lot of transportation professionals to sit there and make sure it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. And it's just going to take time, like any new technology, right? Like the internet came along, and how long did it take for everybody to get a hold of that? It's kind of the same process, but we're really working on building loads from emails, quoting loads from emails, and then being able to match carrier documents without having a person look at every single PDF. And so those are the two real big, product goals that we have, as well as just automation on the operational side. But I go back to what you said about, my carrier reps, my operations, they should be on the phones with customers, building relationships. And if they're doing that, then, the technology can take care of the little things that aren't necessarily helping them build those relationships that they're going to reuse in the future. I don't know if John has anything else to add to that.
I think on the product roadmap, and these are some of our existing features, but I definitely think they're worth calling out. So from an accounting standpoint, having a bi-directional sync just between QuickBooks and between the TMS. We're not a general ledger, so to speak. We rely on QuickBooks to handle that. But the nice thing is we are able to do data entry one time and not twice. So any changes or updates that you put in the TMS, it's going to auto flow over to the QuickBooks, and vice versa. If you make a change in QuickBooks, the TMS is going to reflect that and update. So there's no double duplicate entry, which I think is a big pain point for a lot of brokerages and a lot of TMSs. Number two, we've built the platform in a way that, it supports multiple customers, multiple bill twos, multiple payees on loads. We're focused on building multi-leg shipments. So just the ability to not make each individual shipment a single party customer, single party carrier. I know that's went really well with our clients. Our LTL roadmap that we're building out right now. We have a product today that works. We partnered with SMC3. So being able to get all of your LTL rate quotes in one single platform, having a marketplace to come in and execute LTL for a small brokerage. I know it's something that a lot of companies dream of, and a lot of times they're not able to find a good enough solution that works. Additionally, from there, like Adam said, we're doing a lot of cool stuff, getting into that AI space, focused on automation. I go back to if the internet goes down, right, or if any of these big applications go down, can you still execute your business today? And that's at the forefront of every decision that we make. Can I use the data that's currently living within my TMS to successfully execute my business and make sure I can stand up my customers and deliver on their expectations that they have of me? I think that as we look at what other enhancements we're bringing in, there's a lot of cool automation that I'm excited to show everybody once we get the next few demo calls set up. How you can reach us. So our website is sunnybrooksoftware.com or yourlasttms.com. Our idea behind that is we want to be your last TMS. We don't want brokerage clients to start out in one, hop to another. How do we take your business from 0 to 250 million or 500 million? And you can use the same TMS product for the next 5 to 10 years through and through. You're not going to have to switch platforms. Anything else on that, Adam?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say, we are very customer centered, and I know every business says that, but we don't have big investors. We're not answering to anybody else. It's all bootstrapped internally, and so we really let our customers drive what we need to do in the product, and really putting dev resources on those new implementations, those new customers that come along that are going to need different things here and there that we see are valuable long term as a SaaS product. And so really letting our customers drive what we need is important. If your customers are happy, the money comes, and it's really just making sure our customers are getting what they signed up for, and helping them grow. because that's really what matters. We're not out here trying to change the world in a sense. Like, we're just really trying to serve our customers, and make them happy and make them have the best experience, because they've all had terrible TMS. Everybody's had a terrible TMS experience in the past. So
everyone has a TMS trauma story.
Everybody does.
Yeah.
I want to be able to provide. Yeah, I want to provide that support. I want to have you. I want you to have a phone call. I want you to have somebody to call. I don't want it to just be a ticketing system that's outsourced. And I don't want, I really want our customers to be engaged with us and, like, treat it like a partnership. So, but yeah, that's exactly where we're at.
Awesome. Well, John, I know you're on LinkedIn. I know you're also around generally at the industry conferences. We usually connect when we see each other out and about. Adam, are you on LinkedIn as well?
I am. You can find me there. Yeah, I'll go to a conference here and there, but always try to get other people to go if I can.
You let John be the social butterfly.
John's very good at that. Yes, he is.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on. Thank you for the conversation. If anyone has questions, if you guys are listening to this, you listen to it later after it plays on LinkedIn, you can just come back here to the post, comment your questions, tag John, tag Adam, tag myself, ask us questions. I think a really great way to familiarize yourself with the TMS is to hear from customers who are using it. I'm sure that I actually know a couple of their customers who would probably give some great and honest feedback and reviews for them. So if you guys have any interest, if TMS shopping is something that you are doing now, or it's coming in the next year, even 2 years, it's always good to start conversations early, I think, on that front, and start really understanding what's out there. So hopefully this session was helpful. And I really appreciate you guys having this even after Manifest. I'm sorry we didn't get to do it there, but I think that this was great timing, and I've enjoyed it. And it's the start of summer break. And if anyone caught that, my son's little head popped in right here because we're home for the summer. So thank you guys for making the time.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. Appreciate it.